Good afternoon and welcome Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney.
And I'm Keith Silva. Today we're both here to share the work and wisdom of a few young artists and storytellers.
The Growing Works of Art contest is held annually for students in grades K through 8. It's hosted and judged by the staff of the Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program. The goal is to spread the word about Arbor Day, but beyond that, kids and organizers want everyone to nurture and appreciate trees and the difference they make in our lives.
The theme of this year's contest is the ABCs of trees. Students were asked to choose a letter of the alphabet, pair it with a tree-themed word, and include a piece of companion artwork. Congratulations to all the participants. Jolie, you're going to start us off with the winner in the kindergarten category, a Kingdom kindergartner.
Thank you, Keith. The winner in the kindergarten category is Hazel from Newport. Her poem is titled B is for Branches. Hazel writes, B is for branches. The branches of a tree remind me of my family and friends and all those that care about me. My tree is big because I have a new family and an original family. Because I have so many people that love me, my tree is very big and has lots and lots of branches. B is also for ball and for backpack. Sometimes when I come home from school, I put away my backpack and I play with my ball under my tree. That's quite beautiful, Keith.
Yeah, it is beautiful, and you set the bar quite high, Jolie. I hope I can keep up. The winner in the first grade category is Stone McClurg from Northfield Elementary School. Stone's poem is titled R for Roots. Roots are a part of trees. Roots can be any size. Roots make trees grow and live. They are how trees talk to each other. I like roots because they are real, but you can't see them. Roots are brown. Congratulations, Stone.
And we're staying in Washington County for the second grade winner, Aria Williams from the Roxbury Village School. Aria's story is titled P is for Pine Tree, S is for Shade, F is for Forever Tree. Aria writes, the most important one, because it was tiny, tiny, tiny when my mom bought this house and it has grown with me. That's why it's the Forever Tree.
The winner of the Growing Works of Art contest for third grade is Sadie Martone from the Tinmouth Mountain School. She chose the letter M as her prompt. M is for magic. She says, my art is inspired by growing up in Tinmouth, Vermont. I am surrounded by nature and enjoy spending a lot of time in the woods. I think the woods are filled with magic from all the animals living there, but to the fairies that build their tiny houses in our woods, I love to watch the flowers bloom, listen to the birds chirp, and see all of the different colors the forest around me has to offer. I believe the forest is a very magical place. Fairies in Tinmouth, love it. I've got the fourth grade winner as well to announce. Another entry from Central Vermont, this time a homeschooler in Graniteville, Kaylee Bluen, who wrote D is for different. Kaylee says, every tree is different. Even the same type of tree grows differently. They change with the season and dance in the wind. People are just like trees. They have different genes, characteristics, personalities, environments, all growing together. Trees give us food, oxygen, and shade. We give them carbon dioxide. Working together benefits both parties.
Great artwork by Kaylee too, and we learned something.
Yes, we did.
Awesome colors, and our fifth grade winner has written a Japanese style poem called F is for Feeling Tree. The artist and poet is Phoebe Hoyler from Ripton Elementary School. She has a striking piece of art that goes with her poem. Phoebe writes, this tree makes me feel brave, makes me try things even when I feel so weak. This tree supports me so much, helps me calm down, helps me feel. We say how we feel, we tell each other stories. Whenever I'm lonely, they always make me feel free. I climb, it doesn't make me fall. Whenever I feel sad, it makes me feel happy. I am so joyful, be with this very kind tree. I'm so grateful for this tree.
Bravo, Phoebe, and nicely read once again, Jolie. Our next winner, by coincidence, goes to the school across the street from the world headquarters of Across the Fence. The sixth grade winner for the Growing Works of Art contest is Wesley Price of the Mater Christi School in Burlington. Wesley's story is entitled B is for Beauty. Nature is a beautiful thing. It is all around us. The cycle of nature is intricate and sewn together so precisely that if you were to take one part of it, the whole fabric that is our ecosystem would collapse. The death of one piece blooms into the life of a new. The most prominent example of this cycle is trees and their connection with all living beings in its presence. A tree loses its nuts that provide food for squirrels, and the food for the squirrels blooms into a towering tree to provide the next. It's these things in life that make me reflect on the beauty and the complexity of Mother Nature. One detail I've meditated on throughout this year, and even in my life, is that all religions try to convey this message of importance, of beauty, tranquility, and power. I like the owl that Wesley included in his artwork, a great example of beauty, tranquility, and power. And now for our 7th grade winner, someone from your neck of the woods, Jolay.
That's right. Paige Kennedy is the 7th grade winner of the Growing Works of Art contest. Paige attends the St. Johnsbury School, and her artwork is absolutely stunning. Her poem is B for Blossoming. Paige writes, "Everyone goes through a stage of maturing, preparing, perfecting for the real world, but sometimes your spirits fall. Just like petals, you age, you evolve, and adapt. That's what you have to do to keep going. Eventually, you get tired, overworked, but still you find something, someone perhaps, that makes you thrive, bloom. You'll make it eventually to that special someone and blossom into something absolutely magnificent. You don't give up yet, you'll mature and perfect. That's the point, right?"
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
My thanks to Jolay and the artists and poets in the Growing Works of Art contest, and to the Vermont Urban and Community Forestry Program. We've got one more story about growing to share with you. Rhododendrons were first classified in the 16th century by a pioneering Dutch botanist, Carolus Clusius, who first categorized these showy flowers. For all of you flower taxonomists out there, azaleas make up 2 subgenres in the rhododendron family. And that's where our next story begins. My colleague Ben Willis visited with an expert in rhododendrons and azaleas who taught Ben how to differentiate between the two and how to propagate this plant.
So I have some samples here of some azaleas, and that's a question I always get is, well, what's the difference between an azalea and a rhododendron? And the answer is, well, they're actually, what we consider azaleas are actually rhododendrons. They are all in the same genus, rhododendron. Typically, when we think of azaleas, we're thinking of plants that are not evergreen, and they are, they're deciduous, they're losing their leaves in the winter time. But one other characteristic that's different, and you can see on this plant, these long structures that are coming out of the flowers are the stamens, and the stamens on what we refer to as azaleas are going to number 5 as opposed to 10 in what we refer to as rhododendrons. Now, it gets a little confusing because there's always exceptions to the rule. They're all what we consider azaleas aren't all deciduous. There are lots of evergreen azaleas in the world, certainly as we go down into the mid-Atlantic states. All those beautiful plants that we see in the spring that people refer to as azaleas are actually evergreen. So that doesn't really hold up the deciduous thing. Just keep in mind that we're really all in the world of rhododendrons. The genus is rhododendron. You can refer to these as azaleas if you want, but they are still rhododendrons.
Next, Paul shows us a fairly easy way of propagating rhododendron, a technique called layering.
Let's say you've got a neighbor who has a beautiful colored rhododendron and you want to try to create, your own plant from that. One good trick that you could utilize if you're just trying to propagate, 1 or 2 plants is a thing we call layering. And I can give you kind of a quick demonstration of that. So what we do when we're layering a plant, it's very simple. You're taking a branch like this, for example, and what we're going to do is we're going to try to create contact with this branch with the ground. But before we do that, what I like to do is just take, a knife or something and just make a slight slice on the bottom side of the branch, exposing the cambium, which is that layer of cells just below the bark, that right there. So you're just wounding a very shallow wound. And then, I don't know if this is going to reach, but the ideal thing is that you're going to just bend this branch down. And what I often do is I'll just get maybe some bark mulch, or even if you don't have bark mulch, just mound up some soil, and you're going to cover that part that you just wounded and weigh it down with something. You could even use a rock, or sometimes people will will get some, metal U-shaped clip-like device that you could sort of hold this thing down. And so you want to just make good contact with that wounded area and the soil or mulch or whatever you've got. And you leave that for maybe one season. And then ideally, this plant is going to form roots where the wound was. And then the next year you would come in and just cut behind that, and voila, you've got yourself a new plant. So, and you can see that these rhodies have a tendency to kind of lay out like that anyway, so it's pretty easy to find a branch that's low enough that you can just pin it down and, do that technique. I would probably do it early in the season, like right now would be great, so that you have a whole growing season at which these roots can form. Just bearing in mind that it's going to take at least one growing season to form some of the roots. Plants can be grown from seed, but the problem with seed is that it takes a long time, and additionally you're going to have variability. So in other words, if you were to take seed from this particular variety of rhododendron, you don't really know what the resulting progeny is going to be, what those seedlings are going to look like, because we don't know where the pollen came from. It could have come from, any number of these plants here. And we also don't know really what the genetics of this individual plant is. So we may get something that has quite a different color than what you're looking for. So if you want to increase the exact same variety of plant, we do what's known as cloning, which is an asexual type of propagation, as opposed to a sexual one, which would be planting seeds. So that's that.
And that, indeed, is that. At the UVM Horticulture Research and Education Center, I'm Ben Willis with Across the Fence.
That takes care of Across the Fence for today. My thanks to the crew behind the scenes at WCAX for our first segment, my colleague Ben Willis for his story on rhododendrons, and as always, thank you for stopping by Across the Fence. I'm Keith Silva. Take care.